Traitor!
Hi everyone, welcome to the K-Drama Cafe.
Your place for all the latest, greatest K-drama reviews, countdowns, and more. I'm Candace.
And I'm Susan.
And we love historical dramas.
I love historical drama.
She wasn't sure she would at first.
No, I thought, the history, me, I love the romance. It's no secret.
We had no idea.
We had no idea that some of these things happen.
And that it was such a rich history in Korea, and we love learning about that.
From the time of the kings, the historical way back.
We've looked it up afterwards, after seeing the shows, and we're like, these are so cool, and we learn more about a country that we never really knew about before. And so we're so excited today to review
Mister Sunshine.
Before we get to the review, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the bell.
Ready, Mom?
I'm ready.
Let's get dramatized! When young Joseon slave Choi Yu-Jin runs away after his parents are murdered by their owners, he finds himself on a boat sailing to the United States.
Years later, he returns as Eugene Choi, United States citizen and Marine officer. Soon he meets a young noblewoman,
Go-A-Shin, who he quickly discovers is far more than she appears.
Set in the unstable turn of the century, with tensions high between Japan, Russia, and the United States for the control of Joseon,
Mr. Sunshine takes us on a wild, beautiful, and tragic journey towards the Japanese occupation of Korea. We knew right away that this drama had to be on our list because of one of our favorite writers, Kim Un-suk. We've talked about her before.
Yes, we have.
And it was directed by Lee Eun-bok, who worked with her on Goblin and Descendants of the Sun. So they already had a rapport, and you can almost tell from how well this was done.
This was so well written and directed. It was beautiful. It took us a while to watch the show, didn't it,
Yes,
Candace?
we were excited, but we took our time.
It was about war.
And we knew the time period that this was set in, and so we knew that it was going to be a very heavy show. So we had to kind of build up our courage to watch it, and we are so glad that we did.
We're so glad we did.
It really follows the time period and all of the actions that happen in that historically.
It pretty much stays true to the historical time.
It ends around 1910-ish, which is just as Japan completely annexes Korea and takes over and fully occupies them.
So keep in mind that this is the road that is bringing us to this point.
Yes.
The visual storytelling in this was absolutely magnificent.
Beautiful scenes, beautiful cinematography.
Took your breath away.
There were many slow motion scenes and a lot of action, but not action.
It's hard to describe. The sets were great. The costumes were beautiful.
And I mean, just the way certain scenes were shot, and like in slow motion, very little is happening in the scene, but the way that it makes you feel in just a small little amount of time, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It takes your breath away. It just, I don't know how else to describe it.
And of course, the music
added to
so
it.
much.
Oh my gosh.
It had a really good divide between just instrumental music and then music with, lyrics and words. And the way that they combined the two and the choices that were made were very smart and very beautiful.
I just couldn't get over it. I couldn't get over it, and everything was beautiful. The costume, like I said, the costumes
on point.
Were on point.
And perfect for the time period. So much went into
it was
the detail.
so neat to see the Koreans now in the Western gear.
Yeah, the westernized attire right alongside with the Joseon attire it was so cool.
It was cool.
Not a lot has been done in this time period from what I've seen.
We were amazed.
And it was just a really, really...
It still amazes me, and it's been how long since we've seen it, and it just is great.
My heart.
I know.
Lee Byung-hun as Eugene Choi was such a good choice.
It was a good choice.
Loved him.
He was very, very handsome and just so stoic in this part.
It was such a serious part, but there were moments when he just smiled and you saw the sunshine.
And he was a captain, right?
A captain in the U.S. Marines.
U.S. Marines.
And he had to go back to Joseon.
And he didn't really want to go back to Joseon.
Well, because he was a slave. But luckily at this time, the slavery had been abolished, and so that didn't really matter. But
he was an American.
He was an American.
And he made sure everybody knew he was an American,
and
even though he looked Korean.
And it came in handy multiple times.
Yes, it did.
We hadn't really seen Kim Tae-ri in anything else. This is the first thing I've ever seen her in. She played Go Shin, and she did such a good job.
She was a noble, so she came across very majestic and very prim and proper.
Mm-hmm.
Yet on the other end, you saw her with a rifle in her hand
and running through the woods. And it was really well done.
She couldn't just sit back and watch her country being taken over. She was a member of the Righteous Army.
Member of the Righteous Army. So
and nobody knew. Righteous Army is very secretive.
Yes, and historical, so look it up. Everything really revolves around her. You could even say that her character is kind of like a personification of Joseon, and all of the characters that revolve around her love her in that respect in a kind of patriotic way. The romance in this show is so good, but it's so subtle.
It's very subtle. They just kind of do a long stare.
Lots of eye contact.
But it's not just a silly thing.
It's not.
It is the way it is written and the way it's directed. It's so deep.
Very deep. And it's not just about the romance between the main leads. It's about the romance for
their love of country.
For their country, the romance and patriotism. The beginning is a little bit slow. It's slow moving, but there's so much going on and
they're building the characters.
There's so much groundwork happening with the characters, with the plot.
And you empathize with them.
And it absolutely picks up later in the show.
There's lots of action, lots of sword fighting, lots of guns.
I loved that you could really watch how Eugene's love for her grew into a love for her cause.
Yes.
And it was just really...
Their love between each other it was unspoken, but it was spoken.
And
if you can know what I mean. It
yes.
was like they didn't have to say it in words, but they knew in their hearts how they were feeling.
And a lot of their words had double meanings as well. It really, they'd say one thing, but it would have like 3 different meanings to it. So you had to really pay attention to that. And so some people, thought it might be dull or boring. It's like, actually, if you really pay attention, it's not.
It's not. And it's not just with these two. All the characters.
All of the characters do that.
Oh my gosh.
It's so well written. That's why we love her. Kim Won-suk.
There's 3 other characters that you have to know about.
Yes. First of all, Gu Dong-mei. He was amazing. He was the son of a butcher, and butchers are the lowest class.
The lowest
citizens.
you can go.
Lowest you can go in Joseon. And
no respect at all. They were given no respect, nothing. They're probably lower than a slave.
They're about on the same par or lower. It's pretty bad.
He had to see his parents go through
so much
heartache and struggle, and we don't want to get into detail.
We don't want to get into detail, but he ends up being saved by Asian when they're just children. And that's how
their relationship begins.
Through a bunch of other things that happen, he becomes a Japanese swordsman. He gets roped into or joins a Japanese gangster samurai society.
You don't fool around with him. He means business. He means business. And he scares the whole city, and they're all scared of him
because he's
tough.
He's bloodthirsty. He still considers himself a butcher.
When you see his rough side, then you see the other side. He grabs your heart. You wouldn't think you would like him at first. We're scared of him.
Scared to death.
As the drama progresses, we are just like...
I liked him at first. I liked him at first.
He's a bad guy.
Give me a bad boy. I'm all for that. Now, Kim Hui-sung, that character's a bit of a mystery.
We weren't sure about him at first, were we,
Not
Candace?
really. I mean, he's actually part of the family that used to own Eugene. So it's kind of like, what is his purpose here? Other than being the fiance of Goei-shin. Yes. So he goes to Japan and
He comes back to Joseon after
10 years.
10 years they were engaged.
And, engaged from
And he wasn't
college.
sure he was interested in her, and then all of a sudden he sees her and it's like, wow.
And he just falls for her. But you don't know what his motives are. You don't really know where he stands.
At first he's very carefree and whatever, and then as the story progresses,
Oh, we can't tell you.
see
but
how it all
it's
comes
so
together.
good. So you have Eugene, Dongmei, and Hui-sung, and as these three guys that all have different backgrounds and all love her. And they all want her. And it's the metaphors behind it, and it's just,
Now Kuruhina is a very unique character.
very unique. And she owns this hotel called Glory Hotel. And this is where a lot of things happen in this show.
Her hotel is the central hub for all these nationalities, the Koreans,
Americans, Japanese, Russians,
they
French.
all meet there, or they're staying at the hotel, and she has to deal with all of them.
and they're all having their business meetings there. It's a central meeting point, and it's a neutral place. So much happens there, and she deals in secrets.
And she's right in the middle of it all.
And it's the only hotel in the area. Everybody was like, what is it? Is it
Nobody
like
even knew what a hotel was.
they were like, is it like a tavern? It's like a big tavern, but it's a hotel. She's from Joseon, but her dad sold her to a guy for marriage. And so she was basically kind of like a child bride. And it was really, really sad.
Then she comes back to Joseon,
But she's a Japanese citizen, not a Joseon citizen.
and she comes back alone. So we'll find out
Ooh,
more in the
what
story
goes on
with
with that?
what her history is.
But she's really a cool character. She speaks French, she speaks Japanese and English. Her character is so interesting, and you don't know where she stands and everything. So
She has to kind of placate everybody so that
but-
she doesn't get into trouble.
But what are her real motives? We don't know. There's so many other characters too that we can get involved in, but these are the main.
These ones, you almost feel like you've known them forever.
They're
The
our-
way they're portrayed.
They're our friends. They're our friends.
They become very much a part of you watching this drama.
We miss them already.
We miss them already. There's no doubt in our mind what we're going to give this drama. What more can we say about this drama?
It was magnificent.
It took us days, I mean literal days, to get over this drama after watching it.
I might not be over it yet.
I keep wanting to flick it on in different parts and just watch it again.
It's for the brave.
If you watch this, it is for the brave to watch. So we want you to be brave.
And be prepared for a multitude of emotions.
Yes.
It's one of the best shows we've ever seen.
It's one of the best we've ever seen. They outdid themselves on this one.
Thank you so much for joining us for a review of Mr. Sunshine.
Loved Mr. Sunshine. I
Love
can't
Mr.
say it
Sunshine.
enough. If you like this review and you want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell.
Comment below. Let us know what you thought of Mr. Sunshine.
We want to know if you felt the same way that we feel.
And if you haven't seen Mr. Sunshine yet, be brave, be bold,
Bring Kleenex.
and get dramatized. From the beginning, because it's from an phenomena.
Remember that. It was allowed for you. Okay.